There we go. Guess the cable is just a little loose. Well, thanks for that. So as I was saying, welcome back, Sashi. How's it going? Thank you very much for that little heads up there. Yeah, the USB probably got pulled a little bit out of the keyboard. So thank you for that heads up, for sure. But yeah, I figure the plan for today is just to tighten up this drawing a little bit, and I'm going to go to this environment piece and start to elaborate a little bit more with it also. That's kind of like the idea. And I have been putting a little bit of work into Skylar's pose sheet. So here are like her poses. It's been good, been studying a lot. I've been doing pretty good, making a lot of progress. So I'm enjoying it. It's been pretty chill. I took a me weekend and I just arted the entire time, playing around with this other project idea as well to like just dabble a little here and there. But here's Skylar's rotation, her just trying to like pretty it up a little bit. There's still a little bit like I'm not 100% happy with the border. But definitely want to tighten up the look some. So these four over here, they're a little cleaner now with the art, and I still have to tighten up these three on the far right, and then throw in their respective props and everything. Here's kind of the rough clean, tightening up the shapes, and here's me putting it a little more on the model, and that's why I have this little version. I have it sized and just moving her around so that I'm making sure that all the poses they're pretty tight for the most part. And here's kind of like the very loose gestural versions and the thumbnails when I was playing around with those. So it's just getting a lot of progress, which is nice. And yeah, so and the other thing too is I ended up hiring one of the people that graduated from the animation program that I work at to help me out with some concept art stuff, and should be able to have something cool to show for a Friday stream. Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was the big push, was trying to keep it simple. I didn't want her to be like overly sexy or anything. I wanted her to feel a little bit more realistic when it comes to like proportions and clothing choices and all that kind of stuff. And I'm looking forward to when I get to a point to reveal more on like the story and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I do a lot of art because it's kind of like how I fill up my time. I like to draw. But yeah, I was definitely wanted to just relax and get a lot done. Because I know next weekend I have a D&D game that I DM. So that's going to eat up like all of my Saturday. And so it'll just be pretty much Sunday for drawing. Though I'm hoping to get everything I need done throughout the week, if possible. It makes my life a lot easier. I won't have to feel so stressed out on Saturday. And then I could draw. Did you have a good weekend? And yeah, I just really want to like blast through on getting enough done so I can start modeling and get the rig done as soon as possible, even just a starting point in order to get into the coding side of it. Oh, that's important though, right? Like, if you don't take care of yourself, then it's just going to lead to pretty bad things. So. Health is important, mental and physical. Yeah, it's going to be hard. But, it's nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? I'm kind of looking forward to it because, like, it's one of the fun things. It's the problem solving and then the feeling good after of, like, success. And I'll be leaning heavily on various tutorials and what have you. But I'm not trying to like get everything built in a night kind of deal. There's a sequence that I have in mind of tackling, and the first thing is just the characters, the control movements to make that feel good. So I'm just going to be setting up like a very, very basic location where it's just like a floor grid with some boxes, maybe some inclines, and that's it. And just having the character move around, not even have like the weapon and shield set up yet, and then build into those mechanics. Then build into some generic NPCs in order to get that going, to feel the combat, and it's really to make sure that everything feels good, because that's what's going to really help the game be fun to play. Because nobody wants to play a game where you're fighting with the controls. Like, I've played enough of those games. Ugh. So. And yeah, it'll force me to finish off the Udemy scripting courses that I'm pretty far in, and I can start diving into the RPG one and some other, like, look up some other online tutorials for just the basic character movement stuff. But yeah, you don't have to worry. I'm not going to be doing any of that stuff on the stream just because it's boring. Unless it's the coding is there and it's just like tweaking, but that would be more animation, and at least I'll animate some stuff on stream. But yeah, I'm not going to do any of the boring stuff like rigging or anything like that. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I've had a lot of projects that I started and stopped in the past, and I have a lot more drive now in order to complete it, because I think part of it is just because I'm tired of not finishing projects. I teach in animation, and I want to make sure that I practice what I preach. I don't want to just be all talk, because then what's the point in listening to my words? I'm big on following up with, like, backing up my words with action, because that really defines you in the long run. Is how you what you do, not necessarily what you say. And after completing the art book, I've had this huge relief of not feeling inclined to double back on an old unfinished project and trying to finish it when I wouldn't get around to finishing it anyways, and going through that cycle. Because going through, like, during my school days, I came up with, like, I have a bunch of story ideas, but I'd work on one for a little while and then I'd get bored, and then get another idea and start working on that because it's new, it's interesting, it's different, and then I get bored, and then like just that cycle happened, and up to a certain point I would go back to that first idea, and then it's just over and over and over again, and it's nothing gets done. And I turn 40 soon, and I'd like to have a little bit more successful projects, so let's focus on doing some cool stuff. And I'm in a very, very good mindset the past year, surprisingly. I think it's just more accepting. So I'm going to be completing stuff, and it'll be cool. And these concept pieces will be a part of that. And that's why I'm trying to avoid moving away from these drawings until I'm done them. That's why I'm not tackling the characters so much on stream. And I didn't want to finish these off stream, because I know for me, I always like seeing the progress, instead of like getting to see part of it and then all of a sudden it's done. Well, thank you, I hope. Don't be afraid, the good mood will soon pass. No, I'm pretty good overall. Mental health is a big thing. And I'm pretty chill and accepting of things. So. And welcome, Max Magnus 777. Welcome back. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. But yeah, it's actually, I get that often. Like, a lot of people think I'm younger than 40. Well, technically I still am. Because I'm 39 right now. But this week I turned 40. So, that's it's one of the things, just like, but, it is what it is. Nice. Yeah, and it depends on the project. Like, if a project is making a game, playing games is a part of learning that and getting through that. It's just that balancing act, though. But there's nothing wrong with playing games, even just for fun and just relax and de-stress. because I've been playing catch up on Animal Crossing to have an island that didn't look like I just started the game. For the one or two friends that I have that still play it and may want to visit my island someday. So I finally figured out how to use textures to create little walkways. So I've been spending some time repositioning all the buildings, all that kind of stuff. So that's going pretty good so far. And I might get into playing some Hades on Switch. I've been kind of like bouncing between, like I started Atelier Rise or Rize or however it's pronounced, and I just got to the point where I can start doing the alchemy stuff, and it's wow, it just jumps into complexity so fast. Alright, just watching us with pride. Well, they had their own way of what's equivalent of what we do. It's it's generational, and like when we're older and our kids are in our state, they'll have their own version of whatever is video games or whatnot. But at the same time, I try to listen to audiobooks whenever I'm not like streaming, for example, and doing art. And what was the audiobook I just finished? It's on Audible. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, that's right. I heard Queen's Gambit is finally up on Audible. But I just finished listening to An Ember in Ashes, written by Sabah Tahir. And it's interesting. They actually have two people narrating it, because the story bounces between this male character and this female character, and whoever it follows, it switches the voice actor or actress for it. So I might try to pick up the next one, because it kind of ends at a pretty big cliffhanger as kind of vibe. So I don't know. So we'll see. Like, I'm not. It's well done. It didn't 100% get me interested, but I'm intrigued. And I put in a little bit of time on my warrior in World of Warcraft just because I feel obligated just to get to max level. I'm kind of tired with the game. It just feels boring. So I hit 60 and I'm like, eh. But I'm cool with letting an MMO go. Those things eat up so much time, and I'd like to get some progress on projects like this, which I am looking forward to doing. Peter Handke. What did he write? Sorrow Beyond Dreams, Wings of Desire. Yeah, I'll take a look at some of his pieces. Yeah, and another thing that's been that's a nice like feel good to keep me motivated is, well, I would say not really motivated, but more inspired, which feeds on feeds motivation. There are a couple of like industry buddies that have messaged me like in the past couple of days, like, oh, it's like you're streaming your stuff. Can I see it? Like, I'm trying to build a habit and start creating my own stuff, and I don't know how you do it, and it gets me going, so I'm like, yeah. More people creating, thumbs up. You know, more people who create some cool art, it just, everybody wins on that. So it's been really awesome hearing from a bunch of people that get inspired to do artwork. So far me. So, yeah, 'cause, like, I'm the type of person where I don't want to ask people to do stuff for free, because it's unfair. But also at the same time, I don't have the money to pay people. So I'm just like, So I started learning some coding back in, I think, late November. I started doing a little bit. I picked up a couple of Udemy courses with these game dev groups, and for like a couple of years I was messing around with Unreal, and I figured, I'll give Unity a try just to see what's changed since I last played around with Unity. And since they use C#, and C# is looking like pretty chill and relaxed compared to C++. I'm giving it a shot. I'm liking what I've been doing so far. I finished 3 of the game projects, I think. I started on this tower defense one, which is their second last project, which is pretty interesting. And I did take some coding back in college, way back in 2000. Sorry, university. Because I didn't get into animation right away when I graduated. So I was good at math, so I went into computer programming because I heard that it was supposed to lead into possibly making games. And then I got into animation. I got into an animation school the year after my first year in university, so I transferred over. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing the coding for now. If I ever get, like, my goal this year is to get like a playable demo to a small degree done. If 2022 rolls around and I have that playable, I'm gonna feel successful, and then that's when I would start looking at maybe like a Kickstarter and stuff like that. Because I don't want to do Kickstarter right now where it's too early. There's not a lot done, and because it's not going to bring a lot of faith to a lot of people who, because, you know, one, not many people know me, and also for that, because of that fact too, I don't have a huge following base, so it's like if I do a Kickstarter now, it'd be asking for failure kind of deal, and who knows what happens. Like, it's another reason why I wanted to stream too, is just one, be a little on the social side, because of being cooped up thanks to the wonderful state of the world, and two, just to share the art and the idea with more people and see who kind of gets interested. And once I get a playable demo going, then I can post a link for people to try it out and get some feedback and see how that goes. And if there's like enough interest and people are like, hey, you should put together like a Patreon and blah blah blah, then I'll look into that, and I can use that money in order to hire like some team, depending on like how that's going. So, but you know, baby steps, but keeping in mind of some possible long-term situations. And I figured earlier today, it came to mind of like, I should probably think of like a studio company name. Just because since I did hire someone I know this week, just for this week though, because that's all I could afford, to do some concept art stuff, that just so they can put it in their demo reel and their portfolio and resume, doing concept art for an unpublished indie game set to release in TBD. But yeah, so far, coding, me, modeling, me, concept, me, and Matt. Matt's going to be... He's working on some cool designs for the first stage. So, looking forward to showing that off on Friday. To be determined. That's what TBD stands for. But yeah, I definitely plan on minimum playable demo. And playable demo, I'm hoping kind of like the first stage with the village. Or at the very least, the first stage, if I get the village also. Sweet. Though the village just might be like an empty village with the odd NPC, depending on what models I get done and dialogue and all that fun stuff. I'm writing a story also. Yeah. in like the TV industry, I've worn a lot of hats. I've done storyboards, writing, background design, character design, animation mostly. Did I do anything else? Prop stuff, some rigging. Oh, thanks. Yeah, and underneath I just have it's like a NES controller, and it says trained classically, and it's like this. I love it because it's like this double entendre thing of like I was trained classically in animation also. Yeah, and in games industry, I worked on one project, and I was originally hired as an animator, but I was hired like really early in the production just because they wanted my feedback on a lot of things. And so I got to do a bunch of modeling and rigging and learn After Effects, and it was pretty cool. It was a very welcoming and relaxing environment that I really enjoyed. But that game project fell flat, and then the team started this other one, and it was coming up pretty cool, and then I had to leave back. Well, I made the choice to move back to where I'm at now for reasons. And since I'm back here, there isn't a lot. It's a small town, but there is. That's how I got into the teaching side. It was a little bit more stable than doing TV stuff at the time, because TV was pretty slow for a good long while around that time. Now it's freaking thriving like nobody's business. And teaching full-time, I get to have my evenings and weekends, and since I don't like being bored, I just decide to do stuff, and yeah. Here I am. That's kind of like the Coles Notes. Yeah, thanks. Oh yeah, you weren't on here earlier. Here, I'll show you. So I didn't really do much else here. I'm gonna change the borders. I'm not happy with them. Change them to something other than pink. I picked that color just because it went well with Skylar's colors. So here's kind of like her turnaround, roughly. It wasn't something I always thought about. I did a bunch. I trained a bunch of people on a couple of productions to get them ready from college to working on a TV production, and I worked with a guy who is the coordinator of this program, and I just told him, like, hey, I'm in town. I'm gonna be here for a long time, so if you need any teachers, let me know. I have a little bit of practice about getting people ready to be able to work in industry. And then he was like, cool, we need a storyboard teacher, and started off there. And since I knew a bunch of the different softwares, I became the storyboard and software guy. And now, with the change that we made into our program, I teach mainly storyboard, 3D animation, and 3D modeling, and currently Toon Boom Harmony also. And man, is it difficult to keep up with all that software. But yeah, I mainly go over Maya. That's what I'm most comfortable in, and also it's pretty industry standard. I use ZBrush at home, but we cannot afford to have ZBrush in college quite yet. I'm hoping that we get that soon, because ZBrush is awesome, and you will get to see me using some ZBrush while I'm working on these models at some point. I also use Center for texturing. And speaking of finishing projects, I still have a rigging script to complete, which I'm near the end of, which is good. Excuse me. Sorry for burping. Storyboard. There are a lot of storyboard jobs right now, and one of the main reasons of that is because a lot of the different companies and projects that were trying to get started when the wonderful C word began in this world, it takes a while for a lot of the studios to get the financial backing and everything, and some of those they're finally getting put into place now. So there is a crazy amount of storyboard work out there, but not enough board artists. I've actually had one of our early graduates who's a storyboard supervisor now. She reached out to me asking if I knew anyone that is willing to board, because there's not enough board artists out there to do the work, like all the work that's necessary. And so I tried pointing a couple people in her direction that graduated from our program, and any other people that I can think of off the top of my head. But with that in mind, with right now there being a lot of storyboard artists required, that means in probably about a month's time or so, they're going to be really needing designers for characters, for environments, for props, riggers, because it's mostly Harmony shows right now. So Harmony riggers, and then animators. They're all going to be a crazy amount of work, so which is good. And when you consider paying attention to the process and the jobs that are out there right now, since there's like a lot of storyboard jobs, there's going to be tons of animation jobs soon enough. So, but yeah, it's just because storyboard is done a little bit earlier in production process. That's why there's a lot right now. Yeah, I've seen some ZBrush work, and there's some amazing stuff. Yeah, for sure. Like in the character, well, the image slideshow. Like right now, there's Levi, there's the Beast. I modeled those guys in Maya and ZBrush, and actually have that Beast character that was just on earlier. I have a 3D print of him that's like about this tall. Again, I don't do much. I don't spend a lot of money, so I'm just like, let's get a 3D printer. So I'm looking forward to modeling Skylar here, and then 3D printing her into some cool pose. Just because I have a whole bunch of the liquid resin I want to make use out of before it goes bad. But yeah, definitely animation industry is doing amazing right now, especially Harmony 2D productions. And places like Netflix just makes it so much nicer right now too. And it's something because there's like a lot of money that goes into the entertainment industry, and with live action being kind of on a shutdown element of trying to figure out how to survive in this COVID world, that they're trying to figure out what to do. So that money has to be used up at some point. So they're pumping into animation, where you just have animators working from home and board artists and all that kind of stuff. I'm actually a little kind of surprised that there hasn't been this like big resurgence of small, like only a couple people productions for these like smaller little shorts made at like one location. Actually, I want the moss to be taller because it's been around for a while, a long while. Let's have it like climbing up onto there. So anyone have any cool plans for the week? Or is anybody doing any like super cool art that they want to share? And if I accidentally have links disabled, I will enable them. But I don't think I have them disabled. Leading lines. When did I say leading lines? Oh man, I forget. I'm sorry. But now that you mention it, I could tweak the shape up a little bit just in order to highlight the character. Oh, yeah. Well, it's more like the character's kind of there just for a scale. It's more about the town and a mountain more than anything else. So we'll see how it goes. And when I add values, it might help her stand out a little bit. But yeah, that's why she's not like within the archway and stuff like that. And also with her being positioned this way, she's facing towards the village, so it kind of like draws your eye there. But you are right. I could add a little bit more detail in with like the ground in order to help out with that, just to prevent it from like driving off the frame. So yeah, thanks for the comment. Muchas gracias. And let's square this off, because I want this to be a little bit more on the angular side. It's getting a little stuffy. So yeah, can you tell it's been through the wash a couple times? It's all like broken up and super faded. Yeah, I read an interesting article this morning on Kotaku of that Japan is updating their copyright laws to affect cosplayers. So that's going to be a big change for a little while. Though I think that only affects cosplayers in Japan. It's for the cosplayers who dress up in, cosplay as a character from pre-existing intellectual property or a game or show or what have you. So it'll be a lot safer for cosplayers to cosplay as their own original character ideas versus like Eric from Full Metal Alchemist kind of deal. Will do, Max. Yeah, I already have I have an idea for the intro. The intro, what gives direction for the main character to be here and to do the whole dungeon thing, and it's just like specifics, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's starting to make decisions, because like, to be honest, I am surprised at how fast I've been having to make choices for this game, because this game idea, it was January when I was like, this would be a cool character, let's make a game. Like, even though I was doing the programming, I was thinking like, it'd be cool to make one, but I wasn't actually making any actual choice to start one up until the new year. And I'm like, let's do it. So it's one of those just like flying by the seat of my pants, but I'm having fun. But yeah, I'll definitely keep you in mind if I'm looking for help on that. Have you done some writing in the past? And do you have any of your own stories that you've written? Oh, nice. Congrats. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely hang your head high on that. Wrote a couple short stories, 12 pages for character intro. Nice. Yeah, last week I started talking about the 3-act structure. And I know 3-act structure is super simple, but for a class that you only have your limited amount of time, and you have to write a story plus storyboard and do animatics and designs and all that in 14 weeks, I'm keeping it simple for them. I'm not going to dive in super crazy. So, last week we were talking about the 3-act structure and some key elements to think about with characters to write solid characters. Based off of Sid Field's Screenwriter's Workbook. The stuff from there. But yeah, there are a couple of really nice YouTube channels that I've grown to really like. One I think is called Just Right, and it's a really nice channel that talks. It takes a look at various films and talks about story structure and how certain films tackle acts and progression and various other elements, which is like super cool for anybody that might be interested in that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you want to share any links to some of your short stories, you're more than welcome to. Art is to be shared and to communicate. And to express. Hey. Thanks, man. Yeah, do I have it on this file? Yeah, here we go. Here are the different, like, building types. I still have to do a couple more on this list. And so, for example, the Amphora, that was a really good idea from, I can't remember if it was Itsashi or Max. Oh, wow, Max, that's awesome. But yeah, Thomas, I was just, I was playing around with, I wanted it something different than the typical, like, boxy European fantasy houses. So I was like, let's do like some cool curves. And because even on my last, just like going through the values, you can see like they had some curves, but they're still fairly boxy. And I just wanted to have a little more fun with it. And so that's where like all these shapes and using boards as supports. I saw some cool concept art from, I forget the artist. But yeah, here I was like thinking of some shapes that are similar to where they belong to. So like the alchemist shop, I was thinking like a flask. The smithy, I started off with like an anvil and then just like curled it out. The fisherman's lodge, or the fishing lodge is like a fish with the tail swooped over. Forager's house, just like a mushroom. stuff like that. So it was just playing around with those shapes a lot. So I'm looking forward to modeling them and positioning them in this space. But yeah, I still have to think of the fountain and the quest board. That would be easy. The artist's house. Maybe like a bathhouse spring area in like some watery place. And I kind of have this like down shot to get a floor plan to get a sense of where everybody's situated. And I think I still have some like normal, like generic residential houses. But yeah, Max, like your English from your typing is pretty good. But yeah, if you ever put anything in English, or if there's someone who speaks Serbian that might be interested in checking it out, give Max Magnus 777 a shout. So how's it going, Thomas? What are you working on? Doing some cool stuff? Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I was going for, was to get that like cool shape language in there. Oh, you've been streaming too? Oh, that's awesome. Do you have any? Are you posting like the any recordings afterwards, or is it just like whatever's on stream, and once it's gone off Twitch, it's gone forever? Yeah, feel free to toss your link in if you want to do that, and even post your art if you want. I am cool with that. Just posted something on Facebook and Insta. Nice. Here, let's take a quick peek. Do I have you? Oh yeah, I do have you on. Ooh. Yeah, you're getting better. You're getting a stronger understanding of structure and forms. So, I like the belly button. Do you have any idea what you're going to do for like the rest of the space? Mm-hmm. Take it easy, Sachi. Thanks for coming on by. Or It's a Chi. I think I just got that. I'm sorry for botching your name so bad. But yeah, thanks for swinging by, hanging out. I'll be back on Friday. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, and it like if you wanted to go super fancy, you can even have like a fire and animate the fire in like a 2 or 3 frame cycle kind of deal on top of like the illustration. See you Friday. No, that's a cool idea, man. Do you I've been streaming pretty regularly, or do you have like a schedule set up? Cool. See you Friday. Yeah, it's getting a little warm here. The heat's on, and also roommate did some laundry earlier, so it's some of the heat has been. To be honest, it started last night. Oh, okay. Cool, cool. And no, I do not have any pets. I've been actually kind of enjoying the lack of pets after Solomon, just so that I can actually like breathe air. With my like allergy to a lot of animals, it's a nice change of pace of ingesting fresh air and feeling it as opposed to stuffed up all the time. Oh wow, every day 7 or 8. Whew. Yeah, I'm just sticking to Mondays and Fridays right now, just in order to keep it simple, not to stress out. I might add the odd day after, but like Thursdays, I have a hangout drawing with a buddy. We've been doing it for 5 years now, I think. And he's working on a comic, and I'm kind of like just that's when I've been working on like the Skylar Pose sheet and stuff like that. But I think this week I'm going to be trying to learn Blender and model his character's spaceship for his comic, so that he can just like kind of like take the spaceship model, pose it out, take a snapshot, and make it easier for him to draw. Oh, Solomon passed. We had to put him down, I think 2 years ago now. No, I think it's more like 4. It's been a couple of years now, and like he was getting super old. But yeah, he was awesome straight to the end. So I still have some photos of him in his earlier years with his head through grocery bag like it's a cape for him. But yeah, he was getting like super lean. It was difficult for him to keep any weight on. And he was getting sick frequently, so it was kind of about time. I think he was, how old was he? Like 16? 17, around there? Oh yeah. But yeah, my mom and I, we took him down there, and got it done. And my mom took it like super hard, so she's like, no more. So, and I was like, I'm cool with that, because I don't think she can handle that pain and stress again. Which, you know, I don't blame her. But yeah, I'm enjoying just being able to breathe. So. Yeah, good point there, Thomas. Yeah, I saw that. I'm trying to avoid switching to Maya controls just in order to get used to Blender a little bit more. But I did dabble a little bit. I was taking a look at some tutorials, and I like how they use the mouse feature a lot more for doing some of the subtle stuff, like bevels. Yeah, breathing is super nice. You know, especially with someone like me where I have like environmental allergies to pets and to dust and cigarette smoke, and it's just like totally sucks. Yeah, the biggest thing that I'm anxious about with Blender, it's doing the full like rigging process. But it does have a lot of like really cool features in there. Because I was even looking at, I'm trying to get enough of an understanding to do sculpting in there. Because I think I'd rather do sculpting in Blender than in Mudbox, to be honest. Oh yeah, I'm good with peanuts for sure. You know, the amount of peanut butter that I consume, have consumed all my life, like, if I did ever have that, I probably developed an immunity just because of the sheer amount of peanut butter I eat. So, this peanut butter's so good. Give them Blender shortcuts after a day. I switched to my shortcuts. Yeah. I'm. I normally would do that. It's my big thing is I won't be surprised if I have to teach it someday soon. So I'd rather like tough it out with the default shortcuts, because I try to avoid changing shortcuts in software and dealing with what is built in unless it doesn't have a shortcut to begin with. Then I'll create a shortcut, and I'll usually go with something familiar in that regard. But I usually find myself in that having to train someone at some point in the near future when it comes to software. That's why I keep to the defaults. But yeah, I'm the one big thing that I would love to make some time to do is play around with the grease pencil tool and animate something with the grease pencil tool a little bit, just to feel it out. Because like here I'm using Clip Studio Paint, so like this software and Blender are, I think they're two of the main animation tools that's used in the anime industry. It would migrate to Maya anyways. Some of them would, yeah. It is what it is, and there's also some tutorials out there where they just stick to that they stick to just Blender hotkeys, and if you ever teach in high school now, students have a hard time taking a moment in order to try to convert that, and then they stress out, and it's like all hell is breaking loose. So trust me on that. If you ever like in the future do any teaching, just yeah. It prevents one hassle to deal with. Redshift, that's post-production software, right? Oh, 3D render. Oh, yeah, it's post-render. Render farm. Yeah, it's kind of in general why I like to. Another reason why I like games is I don't have to deal with render farms. uh, well, like also it's I like the being able to physically control the character's movements and feel like you're part of the story versus um, a passenger in like a vehicle kind of deal. But yeah, I definitely like one thing that I was thinking of doing. Why would anyone expect it to be any different? Yeah, don't worry, I won't. Uh, yeah, exactly. Like it's yeah. One thing I definitely do plan on creating though are developer vlogs. I just wanted to wait until I had some content to start creating one and some information on story in the game design document kind of like a little flushed out, and that's my big thing this week is to work on the game design document on my off time to finalize that, which will take me more than this week, but I want to be able to get a good amount of progress on it this week on my spare time for sure. Yeah, and I know, like, I hope it's not super boring right now because I'm just tightening up shapes and lines and cleaning it up. I don't want to go through and do full clean lines like this. I just want to keep it like a little like looser. Because when I go to paint it, a lot of these lines might not show through in the end. And as part of the process, since these are like early concept pieces, I'm still like filling out the shape language and all that fun stuff. Though I will say I'm glad that I'm not getting I love the banter. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm glad that I'm not getting copyright stricken on YouTube with using the music. So that's a first for me. Copyright free where it's actually like working. Oh man. But yeah, Thomas, if you wanted to, are you using OBS for recording and doing your streaming? Because if so, there's like a nice little simple record button too, so it'll save a video file. Since I'm using Restream, that's automatically streaming also on YouTube. It's just saving that as a movie video, like permanently on YouTube. So at least there's always that as like a back handle video for like long term. And the reason why I'm saying that is because even though if you might not care, at the very least it's letting you track how long it takes to do art pieces, which will make it a lot easier for you to figure out like commission prices and whatnot. Because then you know you get a better idea of how long it's going to take you to complete stuff. And so you can say, well, I'd like to make like $20 an hour or something like that, and then just multiply it by the amount of hours that it'll take you to get the job done. So it's another benefit of recording is it's when you forget to track how long it takes, it's just take a look at the time, how much it adds. That's what I've been doing lately, because I keep forgetting on recording whenever I'm doing certain art pieces. Yeah, and I'm actually enjoying the fact that there are you lovely folk that are out there hanging out with me. It makes it all the more worthwhile. Any thoughts on the banter? Oh, that's right. You wouldn't. I don't know if you'd see that. What was I talking about? You lovely folk watching. Oh, commissions? Is that what you're talking about, Max? Commission prices and all that fun stuff? On Turtle in link above. Oh, that link didn't pop up here. I'll pop over onto YouTube. And let's see if I can see the link here. Wow, I don't see the link there either. Blah, 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 blah. How would I... What would be the best way to get a link from you? Does YouTube prevent links from popping up? Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know how to edit chat settings in live YouTube. What you could do is you can send me a private message on Twitter. If you have Twitter. If not, you can send it to my email, which you can see. I think I'm pointing in the right direction. No, that's weird. Oh man, that sucks. But yeah, I'm on Twitter right now, and I'm popping in my Gmail in case you send it there. But if you send it to one of those two, I'll open it up, and as long as it's not as long as it's safe, I'll post it. I'll like show it up on the screen. Yeah, just that Gmail right there, joshrobertsonart@gmail.com. I don't know if that's showing up on YouTube. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, sorry about that. That's something that's kind of out of my control right now. But yeah, I'll look into that. Where are my sticky notes? There we go. It's on my to-do list. Otherwise, I will forget. And that is not something I want to do. Art. Yeah, Josh Robertson art at Gmail. Yeah, because apparently someone already named Josh Robertson took that one, so I added art at the end, and luckily that worked. It's a common name, apparently. And thank you very much. I will definitely take a peek at that once it arrives. Yeah, a friend in Austria just sent me. He's working on this children's book, and he sent me a copy to take a peek. Which I don't understand the language, so I couldn't read it, but the drawings were pretty cool. And he asked for like feedback, so I was like, yeah, this one, just perspective, just a little weird. But at the same time, I kind of get it of why the perspective was the way it was. But yeah, he's a cool guy. He can draw really well overall. I met him through this online website that used to be a thing called Global Comic Jam, where it was one of those websites where it's like having telling a story at a campfire, where one person starts and then they stop at a certain point and the next person continues the story, and so on and so forth. But it's just, you draw one page and a different person draws page 2, a different person on top of that draws page 3, and so on and so forth. And the story goes into like some super cool and crazy directions. It was a really fun community to hang out with. But then the website kept on getting hacked and weird stuff happening, and people got older and families and moved on, got busy with work, all that kind of stuff. But I still talk with most of them. But yeah, I'm so pumped to show you guys some of the artwork that's being done by Matt Silvestri for this game project. If he's listening right now, he's probably freaking out because of me talking about it. But yeah, it's looking pretty snazzy so far. And I wish I had enough money to hire him full time. There we go. Oh, that's awesome. Did you do that? So this is the image that was having some issues popping up from Max Magnus. No, it's awesome. Is it for anything in general? Or just like you're like, I just want to draw a turtle. Either way, it's cool. So, awesome stuff. Like if you want some like critiques on it, I could do a quick draw over if you want. But I think that's pretty cool. Like you can do something with like a series of those cutesy designed like creatures if you wanted to. You know what? I'm getting a little antsy. Let's get some tones on here. I can clean up the rest of the line work as I paint. So overall, sky is lighter on the horizon and darker going away. Oh, I can say I've done that a lot of times for tea. But welcome back. Yeah, your turtle's awesome. If you drew that, cool. If you want me to do a draw over for like some critique stuff, let me know. If not, I won't. But yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm just getting a little like tired of the background. I want something bigger, so I'm just gonna start doing some values. I'm getting a little antsy. So let's get down and dirty and paint. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool with your turtle there, Max. Is it for anything specific, or just you're like, I want to draw a turtle? Because for something specific, that would be like a pretty cool thing to have with all these other like really cutesy looking animal creatures like that. Yeah, so I'm just starting off with values, trying to get lights and darks to feel out the space and to let each shape kind of stand on its own before moving on to colors. Oh, that's cool. It's planet on other animals live on. That's neat. Thanks for sharing. Here, since you were gone, here, I'll show it again. So I'm guessing they're like crazy tiny compared to like this turtle if they're like living on it. If it's like the turtle is like the world. The one thing that kind of stands out a little bit is how and I don't know if it's like drawn in a software that has like some layering, but how this arm flipper is on top of this part of the shell. If it's purposeful, cool. Just ignore what I'm saying. But yeah, looking cool. Cool. Hey, don't worry. Like, it happens to all of us. There have been times where students that I teach point out something that is super obvious with my artwork once in a while, and I'm just like, I'm an idiot. And but you know, it's you kind of have a blind eye sometimes to some of that stuff. What software are you rigging it in? Is that Flash or Harmony, like Toon Boom, or something else? Like, no, Blender. Locking in the shapes. And of course I'm not doing it in the right order. I should have been doing like the far background. I just work with whatever comes to mind first. After oh yeah, cool. Yeah, that's a good choice. Do you ever try that game where you pick different color, you get more and more squares every time? No, I haven't. But yeah, After Effects, there's like with something in that style, you can get away with a lot of cool tools. Yeah, even just like the simple bones is more than enough or something like that. DUIK? Is it Duick Basil? Rainbow Laboratory? Oh, rigging character with Duick Basil and After Effects. Oh, is that why there's that like little square at the bottom? Yeah, I've never used that at all. Yeah, do I still have... I haven't done a crazy amount with After Effects rigging, but when I was doing it, it was back in like... Oh man, when was I in San Francisco? Like 2013? I think. It might be on my ArtStation. 2D reel. And I think it's near the end, if it's anywhere. Yeah, this is the only like After Effects rig that I ever rigged up and then animated after, and I just used bones. I used some particles for the smoke and the gun barrel, ripple effect for the chest, just to make it like seem like he was breathing in and out, and displacement map for the face, just so that the facial features slid and made it look like it was a 3D form when I was just given this concept art piece from one of our concept designers that was on the project. So, and I felt super nervous because after when I was like taking it apart, I had to try to paint like the guy when I was for underneath all the joints. But yeah, it was pretty fun. But yeah, I haven't used anything. Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, that stuff's newer. That's interesting. Yeah, I saw that little green dot square that you had on the bottom, and I was curious what that was all about. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So is it all just about like shifting pixels, or? Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was. It was it was interesting of learning how to hook up and going back and forth with the painting. Oh, it's bones and joints. Okay. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, it's awesome when people like create something cool and then share it with the community in order to create some really interesting stuff out of it. Yeah, like I personally got tired of places like Adobe, who just like so much money in the long run for using their software. It used to be like so much easier on the wallet. That's why I use Clip Studio Paint like all the time now. Actually, before I start working on that, let's deal with the mountain. Let's deal with the background before the foreground. Yeah, the road can still stay like that. Mountain, let's darken up its tones some. And there's not a huge change happening to the tones up above. But what I'll do to help that out is let's do a little lasso trick. And let's go new layer, white, airbrush, and just get a little spritz, just in order to push those values a little bit. Yeah, like I'm honestly not a fan of Harmony only for that fact alone. Like it's so expensive. Get the clouds going. Yeah, it's not gonna be fully. Is there? Oh, right. Help if I'm on the right layer. I was like, I'm using pure white right now. Why is that not coming close to white? It's wrong layer. Do. But yeah, as you rig up the turtle, feel free to share the updates on later streams. Oh man, I just noticed that. What is this doing here? Any other weird lines? No? Okay, cool. Yeah, like the big thing that a lot of the studios they charge so much for software, it's because they can get it from the studios, and they set their prices based on what studios can afford, not from individuals. Some people in marketing from some of those studios actually like told that to me, and I got mad internally. But I'll still teach Toon Boom because that is the leading animation software in our industry in Canada and in a lot of other places in the world. It has its benefits. It has some like cool features and whatnot, but yeah, like there's some other ones that I like to use more for like the drawing side. But that is, it's cheaper to use puppet animation. I want the underside of those. I'll do the shadows after. Yeah, I still want to separate that mountain a little bit more. Its tones. I'm gonna be painting over the moss stuff anyways, so that is cool. So Heather, if you're still around, how's whatchamacallit, Breath of the Wild coming along? Yeah, I should probably continue it over here too. Sure. Here, I'm gonna pop open YouTube, and I'm gonna go to the video in case if the link will pop up if I'm there. If it doesn't pop up, I'll let you know, and probably have to do the whole email thing, unless you just went straight and emailed it to me. And that's completely different. Ooh, not effects. I want airbrush. There. Let's stand out a little bit more. Even if I tone it down a little. Yeah. Alright, cool. Kind of want these to be like shadowy. Yeah, it's probably safer to email it. Just color game, a friend that's huge on YouTube cartoons. Oh, that's interesting. Wow. That gets pretty interesting near the end there. Here, I'll skip ad. Here, just to show you from the beginning, click on the odd one out. And this is like a very simple, it's reactionary overall, and I like the simplicity in its design. Oh man, there we go. Oh crap, there it is. Whew. Yeah, that's I can see myself having fun with that for a little while. So, but yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing. That's oh man, as an artist and like freezing up a little bit here and there with some of those like color choices, I'm just like, oh, I feel like I should be seeing these a lot easier. Yeah, some of those values are super, super close. Like, very little difference. It's kind of unfair. So these buildings, I was thinking like a lighter tone. Oh, that has a little bit of red in it. I don't want red in it. And then the roofs having a darker tone to it, just so that the body kind of stands out. Oh, I can only imagine. Like, I hit 30 just briefly right beforehand, and a lot of them were like really tight. So I'm guessing close to 60 is just very, very little difference. And I can see that being not too crazy to code, because the colors, it's random, but at least it's not like super harsh colors to the eyes, like very, very saturated and bright. They're nicely like toned down, a little desaturated, so it's a little easier on the eyes. And then you can just like shorten down the randomization range for the tougher difficulties. Let's go a little darker. But yeah, later on I'll probably like give it a shot on how far I can get before I get my butt whooped. Oh yeah, so if anybody else wants to get that link, it is ian.vonvon.me/quiz/1121 #question. Right there. It's all good. You don't have to be amazing at it, so. And let's grab that tone for these supports. And same with the door. And I was thinking there's like a path and path. So these trees are close to mid-tone. So let's go darker. Oh, everything's like much darker. Let's go lighter for the mushrooms. Or these fungal caps that are growing on the trees. And kind of don't. Kind of like do this for now. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm picking values just so that the different elements stand out. So like for example, this stone archway standing out versus the clouds really easily, and same with the buildings. It's kind of getting lost here with the sky, so what I might do is I might lighten the sky up a little bit, but I want to make sure that this stone tablet kind of like stands out because it's big, it's important in this space, and right now I'm just kind of more or less making decisions and then editing those decisions when I need to. Yeah, and like for example, the bushes they kind of bleed in with the grass, and so I'll probably want to change up some of those values. It's all about readability. Did you watch Rick and Morty episode with Rick's bathroom? No, I've only seen up to season 3. I haven't seen anything beyond season 3 yet. Because I don't have. I don't watch TV on like the television, and I don't know. Like, has it actually come out on DVD? Rick and Morty Blu-ray. Ooh, season 4 is out on Blu-ray. I don't want the steel book. Or is that the only one? Rick and Morty season 4. But yeah, I've only seen it to season 3, and if that's within the first 3 seasons, then I forget. There we go, season 4 Blu-ray. Ooh, or the DVD. Let's get the DVD. Well, what's the difference? What's on the Blu-ray? Is there any... yeah, let's just get the DVD. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Rick and Morty show. Dan Harmon does a great job with writing it. Oh, it's in stock February 1st. Uh, you know what? I'll just add it to wishlist for now to remind me for later. And it just asked me if I want to pre-order Monster Hunter movie. No, thank you. I don't like how that's looking. I love the games. Not a fan of how they're treating the movie. Well, I wasn't a fan of the movie choices early on as well, so. Season 4, episode 2? Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out when I eventually am able to. Yeah, because I don't have an Adult Swim account, and I don't know if you have to pay for that. I just got tired of having to create subscriptions for like every single individual group. So, like, I only pay for Netflix and Amazon Prime right now, and only Amazon Prime just because my mom's addicted to some of the shows on there, and she's tired of Netflix because she's seen like so much of their library. So, but it's cool that Netflix is announcing that they're releasing a new animated film every week for this year or something like that. They're trying to rival Disney. But I'm kind of hoping that some of those productions, they're high value quality. Like, I have some friends who work there. Mind you, like, it's not all being done by Netflix. They outsource a lot of it to other studios, but yeah. I hope that there's like money and time put into making some cool stuff. Yeah, I haven't even taken time to see what games are coming out this year. I think part of it is just because I have so many games that I haven't played yet. Yeah, and I haven't been in a rush to play Cyberpunk 2077 just because, by the time I get to it, they'll have patched it a couple times and it should be good to go. But yeah, I think Atelier Rise, and I think once I'm done that one, I'll dive into Hades maybe. Okay, so let's take off the liner and let's see. Yeah. The actually, I think the sky is a little on the dark side. Let's see here. Yeah, it could be lightened up. Excuse me. Lightened up a couple times? Yeah. I don't know how delayed it is on YouTube. Oh, the Cyberpunk patches. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, it's like it looks interesting, and I love The Witcher. Like I love what CD Project Red is capable of doing, and I just wish that they didn't rush it out the door. But you know they made choices and consequences are happening. But I'm looking forward to when PS5s are a little bit more obtainable. I guess is a good term for that. Because I finally got around to beating Demon Souls on the PS3, and that was hassle because I'm used to playing a lot of the Dark Souls games when there's still the online mode element. So when I was struggling versus certain bosses, there was no like online to call a friend kind of deal. So that was quite the challenge for sure. So I'm looking forward to trying it out on the PS5 because it looks so nice. So yeah, let's lighten up those midtones there. Yeah, that's popping a lot more. Online is for the weak. Oh, great way to start. Yeah, well, it was definitely a fun challenge overall. Like, I felt great when I finally like finished, like beat Demon Souls, and I started replaying Dark Souls 1, planning on going through like the games in order. Because I never, well, at least like 1 and 2, because I never finished 1. I got near the end, and I only got I only like played the beginning, like a little bit of 2, and then I got busy with on a production, so I never really had the time in order to play through 2 properly. But I did beat 3 and Bloodborne, and I made some attempts at Sekiro, and then I was like, no, I need to feel good about myself. There's a magical force in it. I can't figure out how they had made it. Let's see here. Fly. Oh, this is the magical forest right here? Yeah, okay. So he walks into that room, or she wants to delete all the contents of the specimen, da 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 da. Are you talking about because of like all the effects and everything, or? Because it just seems like there's a lot of blooms for an effect. Or is it like you actually see like a bathroom and then like the walls disappear and then it's like that whole entire forest? Here, let's see on YouTube. Rick and Morty Rick Magical Forest. None of the thumbnails are actually showing like the forest. I think it's just like all different areas of that episode. But yeah, it just seems like they have like some heavy bloom effects just in order to make those brights glow. But they do use Harmony for that production, because I've seen some animators showing some work in progress stuff, streaming it, which I was surprised that they were allowed to do. But you know, this day and age, I'm sure there's a lot of studios that are like, hey, let's get some publicity, let's get some animators streaming a little. But you know, they probably got permissions first, and there's a lot of rules and regulations around that kind of stuff. Whew. They're like tiny dancing spots in the forest. Like Harmony does have particles. He portals into the forest. It's a magical place. Oh, so he's okay. He portals there. Yeah, maybe it's. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that I have to see the video to get a feel of. But if it's like little dancing particle, like spots, it could be particles, because Harmony does have a particle system, and they're just playing around with the settings a bunch. Or it could be in a different post-processing, post-production software like Final Cut Pro or whatever they end up using, and applying the post effects in there instead, or After Effects. I've worked on some shows where the effects are done in After Effects versus like Flash or Harmony. So the one effect I was talking about is bloom, and that's it just helps make bright areas bloom, BLOOM. Here, I'm just gonna quickly lighten this up a little bit, and then I'll oops, not you. That's fine. So bloom, and that helps with making some bright areas kind of like pulse and glow in a way, and you can kind of control on like the color wheel, like the color square, how much of from white to what percentage is going to be affected by that kind of glow kind of vibe. So if you mix, so that's where like all those, like the Aurora Borealis, how it has kind of like this like glow effect to it, and some of the highlights, like in the flowers and everything. It seems like you can put glows to all that, but also you can just do a bloom that's going to help out. So and it kind of goes with like a little bit of experimenting, but just from a quick glance, that's kind of what it looks like. But yeah, it's probably a mix of that and particles. That's like my go-to if I was trying to figure it out. And sometimes, well, if it's not like a lot of dots, but like the odd dot here and there, like if that was the case, I would possibly like hand animate it, because sometimes it's like that's fun and calming, because you have a lot more control, while like particles, you kind of left with the math to do certain things. But yeah, think After Effects would have a bloom in there as well, just because it's a kind of a common effect. So the values are looking all right. Let's see if I can crunch it up a little bit here. Make those brights brighter and those darks darker. There we go. And for now, I'm just going to do like fully black for the character. Because she is not important in this, just for size guide. So with that, let's go new layer and let's throw down some shadows. Actually, I don't want that. I want this moss to be a little lighter. It's a little too dark. Oh yeah, moss. There's some moss elements on this stone. There, I'm liking that a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going a little quick and dirty on here because I know I'm going to be spend some time tightening it up later anyways, so oh, on the first image? Okay. Let's take a look here. Oh, yeah. Oh, mouse over for the slideshow. Yeah, so because you can see like the line work coming through, yeah, I'd probably say those are like little particles or something. Like what you can do is in Harmony, you can attach a glow onto line art, and the line art will become glows. I was encountering it a little bit earlier when I was setting up these effects lessons for Harmony class with the third years. But it kind of like makes the drawing shape a glow, so you could probably have these like little dot particles floating around and then have them glow, and so you won't see the line art anymore. It's just kind of like this this fade out kind of deal. So I think that's, if that's not how they handle it, it is a way to handle it, to do that kind of thing. So new layer. Let's add some shadows. So since I want this like cool cast shadow from the character going like out towards the village. So that means like the lighting is from up and behind the camera. So I'm just gonna start off with all the planes that are facing down. Gonna get some shadow. And let's turn that opacity down. So since it's a bright day outside, it's gonna be dark shadows. Yeah, I think that's a good one. Going to cast a shadow down like so. is kind of flat, so I'm gonna darken that area up like that. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's there's a lot that goes into doing some of those backgrounds. Like some of those background painters for shows, like they don't get enough praise with the amount of like work that they do, because some backgrounds, they're on screen for extremely short period of time, and there are hours spent just painting those and drawing. But yeah, there's like a lot of cool stuff that is done, and sometimes with like if the leaves don't move at all, then you can get away with some like quick little brushes in order to help out with that, getting it done, or some other effect. Okay, so it's gonna stretch out probably like that far, I would imagine. So it's gonna crawl up probably along like there and then down, and this is gonna stretch up and wrap around. I'm thinking of like the drop shadow of this archway, and the roof is probably gonna catch this because it's tall. Not a lot of that roof is going to not have it, but part of the pillar might wrap around like so. But yeah, if the leaves animate and move around, they could just be like. But if it's the same animation, you can, in Harmony, you can plug in different color palettes to different objects, and you can even have color palettes changing if a character or a prop moves through like a masked area. So you can kind of mimic a character like having like dark night colors and day colors, and having like the night colors until they walk through, let's say, like a spotlight, and once they get within that spotlight mask area, it'll change into day colors and then back to night, on top of other effects. You can do some pretty cool, crazy stuff. This hut's going to cast like a little shadow right on that one, so that's probably going to be all in shadow right there. And this one's going to cast a shadow out, but it probably won't reach that building. And you can start thinking of the underside of these trees. This is 3D form. And I managed to draw a turtle. Hey, you know, pick and choose your battles. Like, I'm being super scribbly with this right now, so do not feel bad whatsoever. the shadows being that dark on the clouds. So I'm going to avoid the clouds for the moment. And hey, if you're happy with that turtle, that's what matters. You know, we all go at our own pace. And what's funny is I was telling myself, like, I'm not going to go super painterly with this. I'm going to try to go a little bit more cel-shaded, cartoony, and yet here I am. I'm going painterly. So it's gonna take me a long while yet. And that's kind of the thing is, you know, like I'm not like a Dave Greco where I can just like, I'm amazing. He doesn't say that. He never says that. He's pretty humble. He's an awesome artist. But he's so good. Well, like it's very rough and loose right now. I've gone through my bad, like I still do the bad drawings here and there. Like I'm happy with how this is progressing. I will admit that. But at the same time, like, you know, this is what, the third stream. It's been 2 Fridays and this is the second Monday, so yeah, 4 streams. And you know, it's most of it has been spent on this. Mind you, yeah, there has been time working on like this background and doing all the individual buildings and stuff like that, but it's a good chunk of that time was still on this. And it's one thing I like about concept art is it's a little bit more loose and freeing and experimentation and trying things. But there's a lot of tough challenges with it too. Because you have to not only get the visual look figured out, but it's also the design solutions. So does that house on the right hate the girl? Oh. Like expression on the left one, it's so long. Yeah, it's I think it's funny that the houses kind of like have this like facial expressions to them. I think it's just like it adds more character to it. It's hilarious. But yeah, here's kind of like an example where I should add some values now to her. So actually, like, a lot of this is going to be in shadow, so I should be putting that a little bit more in shadow. The canopy is going to eat up a lot more space. And then, oh, that's right. some of these areas are going to get some shadows. Yeah, the left one here is like, oh no, she's coming. Hide your stuff. She's back. See, and the nice thing, flipping it still holds up, which is important. So that is good, that is good. And let's get some. I think there should be some shadows going that way. Yeah, there'd be like a lot of shadow happening there. And yeah, and then the other thing too is, think of all like the super reflective stuff. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna add in the shadows for the clouds. There. Yeah, that's a little more toned down. So I didn't want to make it look like it's going to rain. Turn that off. How's the overall hold up? Kind of all right. So let's merge all you together. And think of the areas that's going to get hit by light. Top here. Trees will get some little bits. You know, let's airbrush this. So I can just like color pick and tighten up the shapes afterwards. That's a good question. So overall, I want the player to feel like safe. So I'm gonna be using because I want to give this nice warm, light kind of feel to it, and that's kind of why I want it to be bright. Because this is like the central hub, so it's I want that welcoming feel. That here it's all right, even though it's probably gonna get dangerous pretty soon, with inside the mountain. And what I can do is I already have a version of. Maybe I still have it? Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, so I'll probably be using some. I might use some cool colors just in order to have a little bit more of this chill vibe. Because the first stage is going to have a little bit more reds in a way. Or I can go the route of like warm oranges and yellows. That's like soft and relaxing. But yeah, I'll probably do some color keys afterwards, just in order to feel that out. Because that will take some exploration in getting the feel. Because that emotional impact is important, especially for like first impressions and all that, right? And you are a little lighter, and right, so that blade is actually very similar to the scarf. And then I think you were close to that. Ooh. But gray. So do you go with brighter colors in the village and gloomy colors for everything? It's like I have a theme for each of the stages or the levels within the mountain, and the theme with them, the nice thing is it kind of creates like a color, a primary color choice that meshes with that theme. And so for the village, I'm thinking like warm colors or natural colors. So like greens, browns, and blues. Whatever's gonna like lead to that warmer, relaxed, calm feel. Because even though like red's a very first choice warm color, it's a very like aggressive color when you want something a little bit more toned down for that calmness element. So you'll, I'll add some like quick colors in very soon. So I'm gonna do it before I like tighten up the drawing. Well, tighten up the painting. Any other metal stuff? No. So that stuff is super shiny. And then stuff that's not as shiny. But yeah, it all depends on the feel, and sometimes it depends also if I have the other elements kind of designed out, because that can change the color choices for the village to give that warm feel, and even the color choices for the light itself will lend itself well for a warm vibe. So, for example, if we start off with, let's say we go with like a typical like blue sky kind of vibe, and it's always nice to start off like desaturated. And let's change you to multiply. I don't like how it darkens it up real quick. See, because even that. Let's do a quick like for color. It depends on what's around the white. Like if it's just pure white, it kind of gives that vibe of purity. Which may or may not lend well. So it's the cool thing, like even though, you know, for example, purple is like royal color, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's only used for royal. There's a lot of good uses of color for varying degrees, and sometimes it depends on what colors are around it that's going to help give, because it can change the look of the color. Color in film. Is this the link? Yeah. So if you Google search colors in film, there's this really cool video or series of videos that talks about psychology color, some color choices, why the color choices were used in certain areas. Like, for example, red here, love, passion, violence, danger, anger, power. So even though there's a lot of, like, aggressive, negative kind of emotions, there's still, like, love as well. And pink, you know, it goes through all the major colors. So white, it's kind of like, it helps complement in some ways, and it depends on what other colors are around it, or what's happened before and after. But this is kind of like a nice Cole's Notes kind of vibe. So like here, like blues are nice for calm, isolation. So it's a matter of like playing around a little bit, and sometimes it's just experimenting with color choices for that feel. So I'm normally not a fan of using airbrush for painting, but you know, I figure why not explore a little bit, mess around, because I'm not being specific on my edges right now. I'm just trying to get ideas in, and I can actually zoom out a little in order to help out with that. But like for the shadows, for example, I can go for like these, I don't want to over darken it, but I can get some more like bluer tones in here. You know, and it's gonna look messy for the next long while, just because there's something that I think it was Ryan Kingsley once said that I love the phrase of, and it's the valley of the suck when it comes to doing artwork. And it's the idea that when you're creating artwork, it's never going to look amazing right off the bat or early on. There's a point where it looks bad for a while, but it's kind of like trusting your gut and the motions and getting through that valley, because you will get out of that valley, and that's where like the good art comes in afterwards. It's just it helps when you understand the fundamentals, and it's going to look like garbage for a little while, and then it's going to climb out. And some people, they just get into the valley and then they give up right there instead of trying to push through. And it's a challenge sometimes accepting it. Like right now, I'm just thinking, like, you know, grass is green kind of vibe, and I'm just applying these colors right now, and I'm sticking to these desaturated colors because you don't want to oversaturate your painting, because with everything super saturated, it's kind of hard to look at. So that's why I'm kind of sticking into this very desaturated zone right now, and I'll start adding in more saturation as I move forward. And I'm cool with some colors kind of like mixing, like some of the blue is mixing in here with this like tan brown, and I'm cool with that because it's gonna give it a little more texture and feel overall. So and then the bushes, I kind of want them to be like richer green. And some of those are getting a little hard to read because they're getting a little too dark, so I'm going to lighten them up. And I think, whoa, not add. Is it lighten? Nope. You know what? Let's stick with multiply. But what I'll probably do is I'll probably like play around afterwards with some other color choices here and there, or maybe one color that affects a lot of things. And I know for shadows I'm going to be adding in some color to it, just in order to give some nice bites to, so it doesn't feel like black is darkening everything up. What if we kind of make the stone, that's not standing out. Let's go maybe like a warmer tone. Maybe like a warm tone mixed with a cool tone, just to get this like interesting stone-ish kind of color to it. 1004s are saturated as contrast to bleak out colors around them. They look like wisps. That's its saturation plus mask above. Yeah. That's cool. Did you find like somewhere online that talks about that? The those little dots in the forest? And, let's get some greens in with this moss. Some like yellow greens in here. And I'm gonna lighten this up just in order to help lighten those tones some. And so from here, I can think about using this like navy blue, for example. And let's see, what does overlay kind of look? Overlay's kind of alright. Add brightens it up. Kind of like that. How does... Yeah, it's not really doing anything there. And if I use color, probably want to darken this up. And then normal? No. Let's go back to overlay. And it's still... Oh, let's crank that back up. That's not blending in nice. Yeah, so I'm adding in some cool blues into the shadows here just to kind of punch it up a little bit. Give some nicer feel overall. And if I don't like this, I can... It's on a new, different layer, so I can just mess around with color layer. So what I might do is I might just try with a green instead. Even though technically shadows carry a little bit of like the atmospheric color. But I'm going to add in atmospheric perspective into... And maybe I'll just like lightly dust up there. What we can do is, I remember a tutorial from Adobe Animate, they made something like that with blocking background, and it did not click at first because it was yeah, because green is interesting, but I'm actually kind of not liking it. But if we go to like some warmer tones, like an orange actually like makes it feel a little bit more welcoming in a way. Let's go back to the blue. And then yellow. Let's add yellow in. Oh, hope I'm not on eraser. And add it kind of strips away. Not hard light. Yeah, maybe screen. Just to kind of like or what if I just leave it at normal? Kind of feel like there should be some sort of vivid light. That's a little on the harsh side. But if I go vivid light and just, yeah, that's giving more of that warm kind of feel in there. And I can just tone that down some. And just erase out where I don't want it. Yeah, let's come along and get you erase out of that shadow area right there. And you can start getting some more saturation happening. So getting a little bit more richness. Oh. Maybe a little bit more. Trees. How does the overlay kind of look? Yeah. Even in the bushes. Oh wow, it's already midnight. I should probably get ready and go to bed soon. But yeah, and even on the houses, it's like I'm not a fan of like the roofs right now, but as I'm adding in some of this like saturation there, I'm kind of liking the colors a little bit more. And I can mix that up with grabbing some like sky color and actually I want this above the liner. To kind of get this like atmospheric kind of push, and it helps dull out some of those further colors. Actually, I don't want to block all that out. So I like to do this a couple times just in order to help like layer up the different elements. And this way, like Skylar here, I can erase that atmosphere out so that she stands out. She's a lot cleaner. And same with this gate. It's important. And it helps make all this stuff kind of feel closer. And like just even toggling that, you can see how everything feels a little bit more pushed away. And I'm just going to tone it down a little because I don't need it that strong. And I'm going to layer that for the stuff that's as things get further and further back. And it's going to give this like really cool effect. Something I learned from watching FCD School on YouTube. Fengzu. So this pass will probably be like the next set of buildings kind of vibe as I erase these guys out. And that way those elements that were fairly close in values, in tones earlier, they're going to get pushed a little further back. And since it affects the line art also, it just it really, since I'm doing it above the line art layer, it helps push like the whole entire drawing away some more. And you don't need a lot. I still have to deal with bounce light. Let's see here, yeah. Still get erased out a lot more. Just like a nice little touch. And then let's do one more round of that for the stuff that's like super actually let's get some of those like farther trees in there too. Actually, I'm gonna do a different color for that area because the light's shining through. It'd be cool to get a little bit more of greens in for these ones. Ooh. Airbrush. And let's erase out the foreground trees. Bushes that are right here. Yeah, and that's kind of like why I'm picking the green. It's because light can come through the leaves, which gives this nice like green tone in there. And I'll probably add some like little light areas just because everything's like super super dark overall in order to help pull get some lightness back in. So that and there and there. But it's a nice way to just quickly push and pull stuff that's close and further away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the line art layer. I'm going to make a copy of that. So I have a safety backup. Because it never hurts to have a safety backup. And I'm going to merge all this together. Boom. So I have my safety backup and this and in here, like, there's still a little bit more like playing around I want to do. Because for example, like if I create like a layer that's fully black and then change it to saturation or color and zoom out, you kind of want to make sure that everything reads well. And it's kind of okay, the forest areas are a little like wonky, the character is totally lost, but the important stuff I need to push on my lighting a little bit more. And for me, the super super important stuff is floating around. It helps if I'm actually like on a drawing layer. Is right here, right there, and then the character. These are a little bit more primary for me because of the location itself, because of how important this this mountain is and the entrance to it. And then the character is important afterwards. So I want to make sure that those read. Those are like a little bit more apparent, and I think when I'm painting, I can build in a little bit more form in there, just because I've been using like airbrush big and just getting colors down. So let's see. Overall, because like that was coming in, so I want that to feel like it's brightened up. Yeah, just that overlay alone. And then yeah, I think that's helping out a little bit at least. And what I can do is I can take some of this like blue here and on a layer, help if actually like I'm on a paintbrush or something, and I can kind of get a little bit more of these darker tones pushed back in just to help contrast and help kind of like spotlight this area a little bit more for mountain shape. So it's coming along. Yeah, I'm at the point now of just it's starting to bounce light and getting into the painterly stuff and getting those shapes in there. So let's get some reflective light really quick before I bounce for the night. Okay, so this is gonna bounce up, but it's gonna bounce up a little bit more here, a little bit more there, and since that is like super flat, facing down, and let's erase out. Add glow. So I am liking how this is starting to shape up. It's gonna get toned down some. That back area is not gonna get it. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, Max. Yeah, I'm going to be bouncing myself. I should have bounced like an hour ago. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the various links and your turtle artwork that you shared and all that kind of stuff. Hope that's going well. Be happy about what you're doing. You know, art is art. It's all about having fun with it and relaxing. But yeah, I'm getting this. I just wanted to get like some bounce light into this archway area, and yeah, I think this will be good in order to walk away from it and come back on Friday with like fresh eyes and like, okay, let's do a couple little quick things and then move forward with like tighten up the painting. But yeah, I'm super happy with how this is coming along. But yeah, good night. See you Friday if you come on and hang out, and thank you everybody else that's like around. Hope you had a good time. Thanks for the chat, and I'll see you Friday.